I have another video that I kind of called Heartbreaker, but it really wasn't Heartbreaker. It's really just a, in the live version, he just do a, in a certain part of the song. You can see it in there. But anyway, so the studio version of Heartbreaker. Da, na, na. Now this is another one of those tunes. Heartbreaker's on Zeppelin 2. As this Whole Lot of Love. And in this tune, to me, there is a feel to the tune. So when I play it, I go. Which kind of mimics a. And I want to say with a straight face that I think in Nebworth, and there's times when he played Heartbreaker, he actually is going. Because I will say, I do want to say that in the studio version, the bass drum, I think in Heartbreaker, it just does go. Boom, boom, ba. Boom, boom, ba. Listen to it and you'll see it. You know, you'd expect it to be like. It doesn't do that. I think it's pretty much straight ahead. Now, Bonham had the ability, his grace notes, to be a lot softer than mine. I mean, I don't. Again, I have a funky left hand, which I've been spending my life trying to control. But anyway, so that's the beef of the beat of Heartbreaker. And then there's of course there's the later on in the tune there's the now Bonham in Bonham fashion. Actually, the way I played it, I cheat when I would do it live. I would go. I'll go. That part. So instead of going, what he's actually doing, I think, is going. There was a time or two in my life at a kind of slower tempo I could do that. Now that, even though the other stuff for me I find easier, those, because I think they are easier, doing, now bear in mind this bass drum, there's something about a Vista-like bass drum, from my experience, I don't know if the inside's so shiny or what, but there's a lot of slapback, and it takes, to me it's a lot harder to play, especially, I mean, actually might have to do with this pedal I have on here, but really not really, I mean it's, kind of does have to do with the pedal. But anyway, apart from the pedal, there's a lot of slapback. It is, for me personally, hard to control a 26-inch Vista-like bass drum. If it's, you know, tightly tuned, each head, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make, back to the tune, I digress, is instead of... Actually, what I used to do live is I used to fake it kind of cleverly. I thought it was kind of clever. I'd be like... Sort of fill in that note, but he's doing it on the. Listen to the recording. It's going. Stand by. Maybe his bass drum, I don't know, wasn't tuned as tight on the Vista-lights. I don't know. I will say that I never, in recordings of Bonham on the Vista-lights, I never heard a real busy bass drum foot. So that's me trying to cover my tracks. No, but there we go. Okay, well, kinda. And he does. Anyway, he does it. He does that for, I don't know, how long is it? 30 seconds? That's a long time. on this kit. On a 22, I think I can do it. Nonetheless, more thing is whether you can do it. So, I don't even know how fast the tune is, but anyway, I can't do it, folks. Okay, so but anyway, so what's important is. Okay, then and you go into that whole thing. But that's a darn good thing to practice. I should practice that anyway. So let me try. I like tuning this back up though. Yeah, so it's easier to control if it's not as tight a head, or it's easier to control the bass drum just note to self or note to you, or that if you have like a those bass drums like an Emperor-y bass drum that has like muffling in it and stuff, it's a lot easier to control those, especially on a 24 or 22. And on a 26, when the drum's that big and it's a thinner head and they're Visolites, it's hard to control for me anyway. Actually, it might not be hard for you, but it is hard for me. So, anyways, da 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 da. And then it goes da na 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 na. One. And that's what that count is. Da na 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 na. And then, of course, in the other Heartbreaker that I had there, he put something in. That'd be live, but I digress. Studio version. And then we get to a part. Again, the groove, I think the whole groove in the studio is. Ooh, maybe not that extra note, I'm sorry. And again, he could have been, if you see him play it live, like really accenting the. I don't think he did that in the studio. But I swear, look at some of that live footage. He's actually really doing a disco. He's doing it in a couple live clips. Anyway, so of course, too, in those days, too, they did have, again, I think I mentioned in the Whole Lotta Love video, they did have like certain echo units and delay units, which would, a little bit of that going on. So it could have given that the effect or a Fairchild or whatever the heck. Yeah. But anyway, so as we get to the, so then normally in the song, when Plant is singing, oh, see, it's so funny here. I'm having kind of a brain freeze because I'm thinking of the turnaround and out on the tiles now. Anyway, so then at the end of the verse, there's always the. Out on the tiles is taking control of my brain. Anyway, there's the beat there, which is in regular time, which occurs after Robert Plant's singing the vocals every time, and sometimes live. Bonham, what he would do, or what the band would do, was they would play those accents early, as they do in the last verse. Those occur earlier in the last verse. They go over na 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 da 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 da. I count out the it goes da 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 da. Okay, like that. The way you count out, which is a lot, which is, sometimes you can do it by feel, but sometimes if you're not paying attention, or if out on the tile it starts popping in your brain when you're playing Heartbreaker. So you go. So what you do is, in that, just think of it. It's essentially it's not one E and a two E and a. It's like a lead into one E and a two E and a. So it's like and a one E and a two E and a. So you want to go and a one E and a two E and a three. Okay, that's maybe just a cheat. It's an easier way to think of it, just to think of it that way. And a 1E and a 2E and a 3E. Okay? That's how we're going. And the rest of the song is. Okay? But in that part, in the end of the tune, you have the and then into that. So the count of that is essentially just think of it the way I think of it. I mean, it's something that if you don't think about it, you can play it. But then suddenly if you start thinking about it, or if I start actually really thinking about it, I'd mess it up, So what I do would just be count and a 1E and a 2E and a 3. Okay? And a 1E. But I know live is like. But again, so the count, seriously, the count in that part. And a 1E and a 2. So, and a 1E and a 2E and a 3. And a 1E and a 2E and a 3. Now I will start that pattern with my right hand, so then it comes out that my left hand will be this way. So. If you're more comfortable, whatever works for you. So that's Heartbreaker. Is there anything else in that song? Oh, but anyway, I think the most important thing, especially for me, is to practice the heck out of that. I got to do that because I never did. I mean, I'm talking about even back in the day when I was like Franklin Zeppelin. You know what I mean? It was just. I just always faked it. Oh, there it is. I gotta practice it though. That is hard. That is really hard for me. Anyway, but I would think that is probably the biggest thing to practice. And actually, I'm sure there's some dude out there that's like Mr. Bass Drum Foot. Post a video of that without the double bass drum. Of course, well, I guess there's always the outside chance that Bonham did record that on a double bass drum, which would make my ego feel better. Because I guess at that time he did have a... Anyway, Bonham did actually use double bass drums live for a while, and I guess supposedly Jimmy Page and the guys were like, don't play those. But yeah, so you got to practice that on one bass drum.